All right, so our next one, number 9, it says an infinite geometric series with the first term a sub 1 equals 6 has a sum of 12. What is the common ratio of the series? So if we go back up to our formulas, this one said infinite. So we're going to use the one on the right, the s sub n equals a sub 1 over 1 minus r. And again, that will be on your formula sheet, so you just need to make sure you're reading carefully and then picking the correct formula. All right, so they told us the sum was 12, so I can put 12 equals. They also told us the first term was 6, and we are looking for that common ratio. So for this one, I'm going to cross multiply. I'm going to make the 12 into a fraction, multiply 6 times 1, which is 6, and then multiply the 12 times 1 minus r. Make sure, because there are two terms there, you put it in parentheses. Then I can distribute the 12 to give me 12 minus 12r. Subtract the 12, that will be negative 6 equals negative 12r, and then divide by negative 12. And that gives me 1/2 equals r. If you wrote it as 0.5, that would also be okay, but that is your r value. Okay. Then the next part, they want you to find the sum of the series if it exists. So if the sum does not exist, explain why. So if we look at the first two, they are both going to infinity. So that means we're using that infinite sum of our geometric series equation that we used in our last example. But we also need to keep in mind that our r value, if it is greater than or equal to 1, there is no sum. Because if the numbers keep getting bigger, it's impossible to keep adding them and get a definitive answer. If r is less than 1, then we can use the equation to find the sum. All right, so r is the part that is raised to the power. So in this first example, r equals 0.5, which is less than 1, so that means it does have a sum. So we're going to use our formula, s sub infinity equals our first term, and if you remember the setup of our equations, our first term is this first number. Or you can just plug in 1 for I and plug it into your calculator. Because if we did 4 times 0.5 to the power of 1 minus 1, that would just be 4 times 1 and then 4. So we'll have 4 on the top of our fraction over 1 minus our r value, which is 0.5, because we got that from our equation as well. So you can type this into your calculator or you can solve it on your own, but when you go to find your answer, you are going to get the sum of 8. All right, so then we're going to go on to our next example. So this one is geometric because the exponent is in the variable is in the exponent. So we're going to identify our r value, which in this case is 3 over 2. If we look, 3 over 2 is larger than 1. So because it's larger than 1, there is no sum, because if the numbers keep getting bigger, so would the sum. So there's no answer that we can get for that. That is all the work you have to show, but it is important you do show something about r being bigger than 1, the way I have it written, or you can write it out in words that r is larger than 1. Or if you want to write, because the terms are going to keep getting bigger, that means the sum will keep getting bigger and there will be no definitive answer. That would also work, but you have to have something explaining why we know there is no sum. All right. And then our last one, for that one, they want to find the sum of this series where it's going from our y value of 3 to 10. So we can plug in y equals 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then add those all together. Or if you want to check it on your calculator, because that's a lot of room for error, you can do that. The way you can type it into your calculator to check is you're going to hit math. And then if you scroll down to the 0, it says summation, or you can just push the number 0. And on the calculator, you're only going to use the x variable. So on your problem, it said y equals 3 on the bottom. We will just do x equals 3. And then the top, the upper limit, that was 10. And then we type in our equation. Again, we switched out the y for x. So instead of y squared, we'll have x squared and then plus 3. And this will do all of that work for us. So it'll plug in 3 for y, it'll plug in 4, 5, all the way up till the number 10. And then it'll add those numbers together. And that comes out to 404. And that is your answer. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out and let me know.